The stars belonged to the peaceful races. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Federation had kept order across dozens of worlds. No wars, no fighting, no bloodshed. The Council of Enlightened Races made sure of that. Commander Zix-9 stood in the main bridge of the Federation flagship Harmony. His metal body gleamed under the soft blue lights. As a Nexari, half his brain was computer circuits. Logic ruled everything he did. War was just bad math to him. "Sir, we have the daily reports," said Officer Vel 2, another Nexari. Her voice came through speakers in her chest. "Sector 7 needs help with a trade dispute. The Zephyrians and Vorthak cannot agree on crystal prices." Zix-9 nodded. This was normal. The Zephyrians talked by changing the colors of their skin. They were tall, thin, and moved like they were floating. They thought fighting was a mental sickness. The Vorthak looked like living crystals. They settled problems by doing math until someone found the right answer. "Send Mediator Team 3, Zix-9 said. "They speak both languages." The Federation had teams for everything. Mediators, translators, peacekeepers, but never soldiers. They did not need soldiers because civilized races did not fight. Vel 2's lights blinked yellow, which meant she was thinking. "Sir, there is something else. The Archives Division sent this." She handed him a data pad. Zix-9 read the title, Ancient War Myths, the Human Legend. "Why are they sending me old stories?" he asked. "They found more files in the deep archives, very old ones. They want us to look at them." Zix-9 opened the file. The text was in Old Galactic, the language used before the Federation formed. He read slowly. "Records speak of a species called humans. They came from a world of endless wars. Brother fought brother. Nation fought nation. They knew only violence and death. Their planet was called Earth, a world soaked in blood. These humans were strange. They had no telepathy like the ethereals, no crystal logic like the Vorthak, no bio-light communication like the Zephyrians. They used sounds from their mouths and marks on surfaces. The records say humans could not live in peace. Even when they had plenty of food and land, they fought. They created weapons that could destroy cities. They made machines of war that flew through the sky and swam in their oceans. But these are just stories. No species could become intelligent while staying so violent. The humans are myths, like the monster tales we tell children." Zix-9 closed the file. "Old superstitions," he said. "The ancients created these stories to scare young races into joining the Federation." "That is what Archives Division thinks too," Vel 2 agreed. "But they keep finding more files, ship designs, weapon blueprints, battle tactics, very detailed for made-up stories." "Fear makes people create detailed lies," Zix-9 said. "File it away. We have real work to do." But as the day went on, Zix-9 found himself thinking about the human files. He called up more records on his personal screen. The stories were everywhere in the old archives, different races, different time periods, but all telling similar tales. The gaseous ethereals, who lived partially outside normal space, wrote about solid beings who fought with tools and fury. The peaceful Melodians, who communicated through song, had records of the discordant ones who made noise for war. Every peaceful race had stories about humans. Always the same details. Always the same impossible description of a species that fought its way to intelligence instead of growing beyond violence. Zix-9 was still reading when the emergency alarm sounded. Red lights flashed through the bridge. All the peaceful races used red for danger. It was one of the few things they all agreed on. "Sir," Vel 2 called out, "emergency signal from the Outer Rim, Sector 15, beyond mapped space." "What kind of emergency?" Zix-9 asked, moving to the main screen. "Distress call. Multiple ships in combat. The signal is—" "Strange, sir." The main screen showed a star map. At the very edge, past all known Federation worlds, a small red dot blinked. The outer rim was empty space. No civilized races lived there. Could be first contact, Vel 2 suggested. A new race that needs help. Zix-9 nodded. This was what the Federation did best. They found new races and brought them peace. Set course for Sector 15, full speed. Contact the Council and tell them we have possible first contact. Yes, sir. Should I prepare the standard peaceful greeting? Of course. And bring the cultural specialists. If there is a new race out there, we will welcome them properly. The Harmony turned toward the outer rim. Along with it came 12 other Federation ships. Science vessels, medical ships, diplomatic cruisers. Everything needed to help a new race join their peaceful galaxy. Zix-9 looked at the star map one more time. Sector 15 was 3 days away at maximum speed. Whatever was out there, the Federation would handle it the same way they handled everything else, with logic, diplomacy, and patience. He turned off his personal screen, closing the human files. Ancient myths had no place in the modern galaxy. The age of war was over. It had been over for 3,000 years. The Federation had made sure of that. 3 days later, they would learn how wrong they were. The Federation fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Sector 15. What they saw made no sense. Space was full of fire and metal. Ships shot at each other with weapons that threw solid chunks of metal instead of energy beams. Explosions lit up the darkness. Pieces of destroyed vessels spun through the void. By the crystal logic, whispered Vel 2. What are we seeing? Zix-9 stared at the main screen. His computer brain tried to process what his eyes showed him. This was war. Real war. The kind from the old myths. 2 groups of ships fought each other. The first group was easy to recognize. Large, dark vessels with red markings. They looked like the Drakari Empire ships from historical files. The Drakari were slavers who lived beyond Federation space, reptile-like beings who ruled through fear. The second group made Zix-9's circuits spark with confusion. The ships were small, tiny compared to the Drakari vessels. They should have been destroyed in minutes. Instead, they moved like hunting animals, fast, clever, working together in ways his logic systems could not predict. Sir, the small ships are protecting something, reported Officer Keth 5. Sensors show civilian vessels behind them, colony ships, cargo haulers. The Drakari must be trying to enslave another race, Zix-9 said. We need to stop this. But even as he spoke, he watched something impossible happen. One of the small warships flew straight at a Drakari cruiser 10 times its size. At the last second, it fired all its weapons and rammed into the larger ship. Both vessels exploded. That pilot killed himself, Vel 2 said, her lights flashing confused colors. Why would anyone do that? Before Zix-9 could answer, his communication officer called out, Sir, we are receiving messages from both fleets. Put the Drakari through first, Zix-9 ordered. The main screen showed a large reptilian face, scaled skin, yellow eyes, sharp teeth. This was Fleetmaster Sartek of the Drakari Empire. Federation ships, Sartek hissed. We surrender. Please protect us from these monsters. Zix-9 blinked in surprise. The Drakari were calling for protection. Explain the situation, Fleetmaster. We came to claim new slaves from their colonies. It should have been simple. But these things fight like demons. They ram our ships. They sacrifice themselves. It is not natural. All violence is unnatural, Zix-9 said calmly. We will mediate this dispute. Cease firing immediately. You do not understand, Sartek's voice cracked with fear. These are the legend beasts, the humans. They exist. The transmission cut off. Zix-9 felt his circuits go cold. Humans. The myths were real. Sir, his communication officer called again. The other fleet is requesting to talk. The screen changed. A new face appeared. Pale skin, Brown hair, small compared to the Drakari, but somehow more dangerous. The eyes were bright and full of intelligence and anger. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Colonial Navy. Federation vessels, state your intentions." "I am Commander Zix-9 of the Federation flagship Harmony. We are here to mediate this conflict and establish peaceful contact." Admiral Chen's expression did not change. "Mediate? You want to mediate with slavers who attacked our colonies?" "All disputes can be resolved through dialogue," Zix-9 explained. "Violence serves no purpose." "Tell that to the 50,000 colonists they killed on New Perth," Chen said. "Tell that to the children they took as slaves from Roosevelt Station." "We understand your anger, but—" "No," Chen interrupted. "You do not understand. The Drakari have enslaved 17 of our worlds. They kill for pleasure and take our people for forced labor. There will be no negotiation." Zix-9 felt confused. This human was clearly intelligent, but she refused to see logic. "Admiral Chen, surely we can find a peaceful solution. What are your terms?" "Simple. The Drakari Empire will return all human slaves. They will pay compensation for damages. They will withdraw from human space permanently. If they refuse, we will destroy every ship in their fleet." "And if they agree?" Admiral Chen smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Then we will only destroy most of their fleet." The transmission ended. Zix-9 stared at the blank screen. In all his years of service, no one had ever refused Federation mediation. Peace was always possible. Logic always won. "Sir," Vel-2 said quietly, "what do we do?" Zix-9 made his decision. "Send a message to both fleets. Tell them the Federation demands an immediate ceasefire. Any ship that fires weapons will face Federation justice." "And if they refuse?" "They will not refuse. No one refuses the Federation." The message went out on all frequencies. For a moment, the battle stopped. Both sides seemed to consider the Federation's words. Then Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication system. "Federation ships, this is Admiral Chen. We respect your authority in your space. But this is our space, and these are our people. You have 30 minutes to withdraw before we resume operations." "Admiral," Zix-9 replied, "we cannot allow this violence to continue." "Then stop us," Chen said simply. Zix-9 felt his logic circuits overload. No civilized being had ever challenged the Federation so directly. "Admiral Chen, we have 12 ships to your—" "How many ships do you have?" "Enough," she answered. 29 minutes now." The line went dead. Around the Federation fleet, the human ships began to move. They formed new patterns, preparing for battle. Their formation looked chaotic to Zix-9's organized mind, but somehow it also looked dangerous. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Federation faced an enemy that did not want peace. "Sir," Vel-2 asked, her voice small, "are we really going to fight the humans?" Zix-9 looked at the tactical display. Federation doctrine was clear. Peace through superior firepower. Show strength, and enemies would surrender. "Charge weapons," he ordered. "If they want to see Federation power, we will show them." But deep in his circuits, doubt sparked. The old stories about humans all said the same thing. They were creatures of war. Fighting was what they did best. What if the stories were not just myths? What if they were warnings? The Federation fleet powered up their weapons. 12 ships against 29 human vessels. The Federation had never lost a fight. Their technology was too advanced, their ships too powerful. Admiral Chen appeared on screen again. Her expression was calm, like she was discussing the weather. "Commander Zix-9, I need you to understand something. My people have been fighting for 10,000 years. We fought each other until we learned to fight together. We know every trick, every strategy, every way to turn weakness into strength. Admiral, your ships are smaller than ours. Your weapons are primitive. Logic says you cannot win. Chen smiled again. That same cold expression. Logic. Yes, we learned about logic too, usually right before we learned how to break it. Behind her, Zix-9 could see her bridge. Other humans moved quickly, efficiently. They did not look scared. They looked eager. Last chance, Commander. Take your ships and leave. This is human business now. Zix-9's circuits sparked with anger. No one dismissed the Federation. Admiral Chen, you force us to respond with strength. Surrender now and we will show mercy. Commander, Chen said softly, we are humans. We do not know how to surrender. The transmission ended. Zix-9 turned to his weapons officer. Target their flagship. Disable their engines. Minimum force. Yes, sir. Firing. The Federation's most advanced energy weapon fired, a beam of pure light that could cut through any known armor. It struck Admiral Chen's ship dead center. Nothing happened. Report, Zix-9 demanded. Sir, their hull absorbed our beam somehow. No damage detected. Impossible. Fire again. Full power. 3 more beams hit the human ship. The hull glowed briefly, then returned to normal. Sir, his sensor officer called out. They are firing back! On the screen, human ships launched simple metal projectiles, crude weapons that should bounce off Federation shields like raindrops. The first projectile hit the Harmony. The entire ship shook. Lights flickered. Alarms began to sound. How? Vel-2 asked, her lights flashing panic colors. Shield report, Zix-9 ordered. Shields down by 40%, sir. I do not understand. Their weapons should not be able to penetrate our defenses. More projectiles struck. Each impact sent shockwaves through the ship. Around the Federation fleet, other vessels reported similar damage. Sir, his tactical officer reported, I think I understand. Their projectiles are not trying to break through our shields. They are designed to overload them with kinetic energy. That is impossible. No one fights that way anymore. Humans do, sir. On the tactical display, the human ships moved in patterns Zix-9 had never seen. They spread out, then came together, then spread out again, like a pack of hunting animals. They are using ancient tactics, Vel-2 observed, pack hunting strategies, but how do they coordinate without telepathy? Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication system again. Federation ships, this is your second lesson. We do not fight like civilized races. We fight like humans. What is the difference? Zix-9 asked. Civilized races fight to win with minimal losses. Humans fight to win, period. Watch and learn. 3 human ships suddenly accelerated toward the Federation cruiser Peace. The cruiser's captain tried to retreat, but the human ships split up. One attacked from the front, one from each side. They are sacrificing 2 ships to destroy one of ours, Zix-9 realized. That is terrible mathematics. It is, Chen agreed over the comm. But it works. The Peace fired all its weapons. It destroyed 1 human ship, damaged another. But the 3rd ship rammed directly into the cruiser's engine section. Both ships exploded in a ball of flame. No rational being trades 1 for 1, Zix-9 said. You are right, Chen replied. But we are not fighting to be rational. We are fighting to protect our people. Different motivation, different math. Around the battle, more human ships engaged in impossible tactics. They used damaged vessels as shields for healthy ones. They sacrificed small ships to get close to big ones. They coordinated attacks with timing that seemed telepathic. Sir, his communication officer reported, we are receiving strange signals from the human fleet. Not communications, something else. Put it through speakers. The bridge filled with sound, human voices but not talking. They were making noise together, rhythmic, loud, purposeful. What is that? Vel-2 asked. Admiral Chen's voice cut through the sound. War cries, Commander. We have been doing this since we lived in caves. It coordinates our attacks and scares our enemies. Noise cannot coordinate attacks, Zix-9 protested. Watch your sensors, Commander. Zix-9 looked at the tactical display. Every time the human voices rose together, their ships moved in perfect formation. When the sound changed, they changed direction. It was like watching a dance of war. Impossible. You cannot coordinate complex maneuvers with primitive sounds. Commander, my species spent 1,000,000 years hunting in packs. We learned to work together before we learned to talk properly. These sounds carry information your computers cannot understand because they were not made for computers. They were made for human brains. Another Federation ship, the Wisdom, tried to retreat. 5 human ships pursued it. They did not try to surround it or disable it. They simply chased it like hunting animals, taking turns to attack until the Federation ship's shields collapsed. This is not warfare, Zix-9 said. This is savagery. Yes, Chen agreed. Civilized warfare is an artificial concept. Real warfare is about survival, about protecting your pack, about winning no matter what it costs. The galaxy moved beyond such things. No, Commander, the galaxy forgot such things. We never did. Zix-9 watched his fleet fall apart. Federation ships scattered, trying to use their superior speed to escape. But the humans had anticipated this. Smaller, faster human ships had moved to cut off escape routes. Sir, Vel-2 said quietly, what are your orders? Zix-9 looked at the tactical display. Half his ships were damaged or destroyed. The humans had lost ships too, but they kept fighting like the losses meant nothing. Open a channel to Admiral Chen, he said. Chen's face appeared on screen. Her ship showed battle damage, but her expression remained calm. Ready to talk now? She asked. Admiral, we surrender. Good. Here are my terms. Your ships will withdraw immediately. You will not interfere with our operations against the Drakari. You will return to Federation space and report that humans exist and are not to be bothered. And if we refuse? Chen's smile returned. Commander, I have 60 more ships arriving in 2 hours. These were just our scouts. Zix-9 felt his circuits go cold. Scouts, we have been watching your approach for 3 days. Did you think we did not know you were coming? We prepared for this meeting very carefully. You manipulated us into attacking you. We wanted to see what Federation ships could do in combat. Now we know. Your technology is impressive, but your tactics are 3,000 years out of date. Zix-9 finally understood. The humans had not just defeated the Federation fleet. They had used the Federation to test their own abilities, like using a training exercise to prepare for real war. Admiral Chen, what happens now? Now, Commander, you leave. We finish our business with the Drakari. Then we decide what to do about a galaxy that forgot how to defend itself. The Federation fleet limped away from the battle. Behind them, human ships turned back toward the Drakari fleet. The reptilian slavers were about to learn what real war looked like. As the Harmony jumped to faster-than-light speed, Zix-9 sent an emergency message to the Federation Council. The message was simple. The humans are real. The galaxy is no longer safe. The Federation Council watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. The emergency session included representatives from every major race: crystalline Vorthak, glowing Zephyrians, gaseous Ethereals, and dozens of others. All of them looked at the screens with expressions that did not translate well between species, but meant the same thing: fear. This cannot be real, said Council Prime Veltar, a towering Zephyrian whose skin flashed nervous purple colors. These recordings must be fabricated. I wish they were, Commander Zix-9 replied through the communication link. I fought them myself. The humans are everything the old legends said they were. On the main screen, the battle continued to play. Human ships moved like nothing the Council had ever seen. They coordinated without telepathy, fought without logic, and won through methods that should not work. Show us what happened next, requested ethereal speaker Wis's whose voice drifted from speakers around the council chamber. The ethereals existed partially outside normal space, but even they seemed shaken by what they observed. The recording switched to long-range sensors focused on the Drakari fleet. The reptilian slavers had ruled this sector of space for 3,000 years through fear and superior numbers. Their ships were large, heavily armored, and carried weapons designed to break enemy morale. Admiral Chen's voice came through the speakers as her fleet approached the Drakari formation. "Attention, Drakari vessels. You have 30 seconds to begin releasing human prisoners. After that, we consider you legitimate military targets." Fleetmaster Sar Tek responded immediately. "Humans, we will negotiate. Surely we can reach an agreement." "The time for negotiation ended when you took our people as slaves. You have 20 seconds. Wait, we can offer tribute. Resources, technology. 15 seconds. Please, we surrender. We will leave your space forever. 10 seconds. But you will not leave our space, Fleetmaster. You will never leave anywhere again." "What do you mean?" Admiral Chen's voice turned cold. "You made a mistake, Fleetmaster. You made this personal." The human fleet attacked. But this time, they did not use the chaotic pack tactics they had shown against the Federation. This time, they moved with surgical precision. The first wave of human ships ignored the Drakari warships completely. Instead, they targeted support vessels, supply ships, medical frigates, communication relays. Within minutes, the Drakari fleet was blind, hungry, and unable to coordinate. "Impossible," whispered Crystal Singer Thex of the Vorthak delegation. "They are fighting the supply chain first. That requires understanding of logistics that takes centuries to master. Humans have been fighting supply wars since they invented agriculture," Zix-9 explained. "It is what they do." The second wave attacked the Drakari command structure, not randomly, but with perfect knowledge of Drakari hierarchy. Every shot targeted a specific ship, a specific commander, a specific link in the chain of command. "How do they know which ships contain which officers?" asked Council Prime Veltar. "They studied us," came a new voice. The screen showed Fleetmaster Sar Tek broadcasting from his damaged flagship. "They have been studying us for months. They know our culture, our military structure, our weaknesses." "How is that possible?" Veltar demanded. Admiral Chen answered. "We captured some of your raiding parties last year, Fleetmaster. Your soldiers were very helpful. They told us everything about Drakari society, military ranks, chain of command. Pain makes excellent motivation for conversation." The council chamber erupted in shocked voices from dozens of species. The Zephyrians flashed bright red, the color of absolute horror. The crystalline Vorthak made sounds like breaking glass. "Torture," breathed ethereal speaker Wisses Am. "They used torture for intelligence gathering." "No," Admiral Chen corrected. "We used enhanced interrogation. Your raiders killed civilians, including children. We asked them questions until they answered. Different thing entirely." On screen, the battle continued. The third wave of human ships did something the Council had never seen before. They began broadcasting on Drakari communication frequencies, but not to the fleet. They were talking to individual Drakari soldiers. "Attention, Drakari warriors," came a voice speaking perfect Drakari language. "Your commanders are dead. Your supply ships are destroyed. Your choice is simple: surrender and live, or die for leaders who do not care about you." "Psychological warfare," Zix-9 explained to the Council. "They are turning the Drakari against each other." It worked. Individual Drakari ships began to surrender. Others fired on the surrendering vessels, trying to maintain discipline. Within an hour, the Drakari fleet was fighting itself as much as the humans. "This is madness!" Fleetmaster Sar Tek screamed over the communication system. "You turn brother against brother." "We turn soldiers against bad leaders," Admiral Chen replied. "Your people deserve better than commanders who send them to die for nothing." "We are Drakari. We do not surrender." "Then you will die," Your choice. The final phase of the battle showed the humans doing something that shocked the Council into complete silence. When Drakari ships tried to use human prisoners as shields, the human response was immediate and terrifying. Small human ships, barely larger than fighters, launched toward the Drakari vessels. They moved too fast for the larger ships to target effectively. They attached to the Drakari hulls and began cutting through the armor with focused energy beams. "They are boarding the enemy ships," Crystal Singer Thex observed. "That has not been done in warfare for 2,000 years. "Humans never stop doing it," Zix9 said. "Watch." The recording showed the interior of a Drakari ship. Security cameras revealed human soldiers moving through the corridors. They were smaller than the Drakari, but they moved like predators. They used weapons the Council did not recognize. Short-range, high-damage tools designed for close combat. But most shocking was how they coordinated. Without radio communication, without telepathy, the human soldiers moved together like parts of the same organism. They seemed to know where each other was, what each other was thinking, what each other needed. "How do they coordinate so well?" asked Council Prime Veltar. "Pack bonding," said a new voice. Dr. Elena Vasquez of the Terran Colonial Research Division appeared on a secondary screen. "Humans form emotional connections that create quantum entanglement between our neural patterns. We literally think together when we fight together." "That is impossible," protested Crystal Singer Thex. "Quantum entanglement cannot affect macro-scale biology." "It can when evolution shapes biology around warfare for millions of years," Dr. Vasquez explained. "We call it esprit de corps, unit cohesion, the bond between soldiers who fight side by side." "You weaponized evolution itself," whispered ethereal speaker Wissis Am. "No," Dr. Vasquez corrected. "Evolution weaponized us." The recording showed the human soldiers reaching the prisoner compartments. They moved with impossible efficiency, freeing their people while fighting off Drakari guards. When they encountered civilians from other species, they freed them too. "They rescue non-humans as well," observed Council Prime Veltar. "Humans protect the weak," Admiral Chen explained. "It is what we do, what we have always done." The battle ended 6 hours after it began. The entire Drakari fleet was either destroyed, captured, or surrendered. Not a single human prisoner remained in Drakari hands. Fleetmaster Sartek, his ship crippled and his fleet gone, made one final transmission. "You have not won," he told Admiral Chen. "The Drakari Empire spans 1,000 worlds. Our fleets will come for you. You cannot fight us all." Admiral Chen's response became legend throughout the galaxy. "Fleet Master, you do not understand. This was not us fighting you. This was us rescuing our people. If you want to see us fight, attack our homeworld. See what happens when you threaten our families." "What difference would that make?" Admiral Chen smiled. "The difference, Fleet Master, between a rescue mission and a war." The transmission ended. The recording stopped. The council chamber remained silent for long minutes. Finally, Council Prime Veltar spoke. "What do they want from us?" Commander Zix9 answered. "Nothing, Council Prime. They want nothing from us at all. And that may be the most terrifying thing about them." 3 weeks after the Battle of Sector 15, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the Federation Council chambers. It was the first time a human had set foot on the Federation capital world. The chamber was beautiful in a way that spoke of 3,000 years of peace. Soft lights, curved walls, and the gentle harmony of dozens of species who had learned to live without violence. Chen wore her dress uniform, dark blue with silver stars. She carried no weapons, but every delegate in the chamber knew what those hands had done. They had commanded the destruction of the most feared fleet in this part of the galaxy. Council Prime Veltar's skin shifted through nervous purple and blue patterns as he called the session to order. "Admiral Chen, thank you for accepting our invitation. Thank you for extending it, Chen replied. I was not sure you would want to talk after what happened. We must talk, said Crystal Singer Thex, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. Your species presents challenges we do not understand. Around the chamber, representatives from 47 species watched Chen with expressions ranging from curiosity to fear. The gaseous ethereals whispered to each other in frequencies only they could hear. The bioluminescent Zephyrians flashed careful diplomatic colors. What kind of challenges? Chen asked. Ethereal speaker. Wis-Am's voice drifted from hidden speakers. You do not fit our categories, Admiral. You are clearly intelligent, but you have not transcended violence. You cooperate, but you maintain separate nations. You create technology, but you use it for war. We do not know how to classify you. Chen nodded. That is because you are trying to put us in boxes that do not fit. We are not like other species. How so? Asked Council Prime Veltar. Every species in the Federation evolved past conflict. You grew beyond it, transcended it, or found ways to avoid it. Humans did something different. We mastered it. What is the difference? Crystal Singer Thex inquired. Chen thought for a moment. You stopped fighting because you found better ways to solve problems. We kept fighting because fighting taught us how to solve problems. Violence shaped us into what we are today. But surely, said a new voice from the Melodian delegation, you can learn to live peacefully now. You have intelligence, technology, resources. War is no longer necessary. You misunderstand, Chen replied. We do not fight because we have to. We fight because it is what we are. Take away our ability to fight, and you take away our humanity. The chamber erupted in confused chatter. Translation systems worked overtime as delegates discussed this concept in dozens of languages. Council Prime Veltar called for order. Admiral Chen, the Federation has maintained peace for 3 millennia. Surely you can see the benefits of our way of life. I can, Chen agreed. And I can also see the weaknesses. What weaknesses? Veltar asked, his skin flashing offended orange. Council Prime, what would you do if a species like the Drakari attacked Federation space? We would negotiate, find common ground, reach a peaceful solution. And if negotiation failed, we would apply economic pressure, diplomatic isolation. And if they ignored that and kept attacking your civilians? Veltar hesitated. We would find another way. No, Chen said firmly. You would die. Because you have forgotten that some problems can only be solved with force. The chamber fell silent. Uncomfortable silence, as delegates considered possibilities they had not thought about for thousands of years. Are you threatening us? Asked ethereal speaker Wis-Am. No, Chen replied. I am offering to protect you. From what? From everything you cannot fight yourselves. Crystal Singer Thex made sounds like wind chimes in a storm. You wish to become our protectors? Our guardians? We wish to coexist, Chen explained. You have built something beautiful here. A galaxy where species cooperate instead of competing. Where problems are solved with words instead of weapons. Humans respect that. But, prompted Council Prime Veltar, but the galaxy is bigger than Federation space. There are threats out there you cannot imagine. Species that never learn to be civilized. Things that hunger and hate and kill for pleasure. When those threats come, you will need someone who remembers how to fight. And you believe you can protect us? Chen smiled. Council Prime, we just destroyed the Drakari Empire in 6 standard cycles. The Drakari had ruled this sector for 3,000 years. They had ships, soldiers, slaves, and fear on their side. But they lost because they fought like civilized beings following rules. We fought like humans following instincts. You destroyed their fleet, corrected ethereal speaker Wis-Am. Not their empire. Actually, Chen said, we destroyed their empire too. Would you like to see? The chamber's main screen activated. It showed star charts of former Drakari territory. Where there had once been red markers showing Drakari control, now there were green and blue markers showing free worlds and human protectorates. 17 species freed from slavery, Chen reported. 43 worlds returned to their original inhabitants. The Drakari themselves relocated to a single world under human oversight, where they are learning to live without slaves. How is that possible? Asked Council Prime Veltar. It has only been 3 weeks. Humans think fast when we need to. We sent diplomatic teams to every former slave world. We offered them independence and protection. Most said yes immediately. And the ones who said no? We protected them anyway. Freedom is not negotiable. The delegates exchanged looks across species barriers. This concept was new to most of them. Protection without payment, defense without control. What do you want in return? Asked Crystal Singer Thex. Nothing, Chen replied. Nothing? We want you to keep being what you are. Keep building peace. Keep solving problems with logic and cooperation. Keep showing the galaxy that civilization is possible. While you do what? We watch the borders. We deal with the things that cannot be reasoned with. We make sure that nothing threatens the peace you have built. Council Prime Veltar's skin shifted through rapid color changes. Admiral, this is very difficult to understand. You offer to fight our battles while asking for nothing in return? Council Prime, imagine you had a neighbor whose house kept catching fire through no fault of their own. Would you not help put out the fires? Would you demand payment for doing so? That is different. Fire is not intelligent. It cannot be negotiated with. Exactly, Chen said. Some threats are like fire. The Drakari were like fire. They could not be reasoned with, only stopped. When you meet such threats, call us. We will handle them. And what do humans gain from this arrangement? Chen was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was softer than before. Council Prime, my species spent 10,000 years fighting each other. We built weapons that could end all life on our planet. We came very close to destroying ourselves several times. What changed? We found something worth protecting, something bigger than ourselves. The idea that different species could coexist peacefully was just a dream to us until we saw what you had built here. The Federation proves that our dream was possible. So you fight to protect our peace? We fight to protect the proof that peace is real. The chamber remained silent for several minutes. Finally, ethereal speaker Wisses Am spoke. Admiral, if we accept this arrangement, what guarantee do we have that humans will not eventually turn their weapons on us? Chen looked directly at the area where the ethereal's voice originated. Speaker, you have the same guarantee you have always had, the hope that intelligence will choose cooperation over conflict. But you are armed. We are not. Speaker, you have always been at the mercy of those with weapons. The only difference is that now you know who those people are, and you know they are on your side. Another long silence fell over the chamber. Then Council Prime Veltar spoke. Admiral Chen, the Federation Council will vote on this proposal. But I must ask you one final question. Yes? What happens when humanity faces a threat it cannot defeat? Chen's smile returned, but this time it was not cold. It was warm, proud, and somehow sad. Council Prime, that will be the day the universe learns what happens when you threaten something humans love. As Admiral Chen left the Federation chambers, deep space sensors at the galaxy's edge detected something approaching from the void between star systems, something ancient and hungry that had devoured civilizations when the universe was young. The Federation's most advanced computers calculated the arrival time and probable outcome of contact. Their conclusion was unanimous: total extinction within 1 standard year. But for the first time in 3,000 years, the Federation was not defenseless. Admiral Chen received the censored data 18 hours later. Her response became the most famous message in galactic history. Finally, a fair fight.